The Battle of Kapyong was fought between United Nations command forces, primarily Canadian, Australian, and New Zealand troops, and Chinese 118th Division, 40th Corps. The fighting helped blunt the Chinese spring offensive, and the actions of the 3rd Battalion, Royal Australian Regiment, and the 2nd Battalion, Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry at Kapyong were critical in preventing a breakthrough against the UN Central Front. The major offensive of Chinese troops commenced on April 22. The Chinese 118th and the 60th Division attacked the ROK 6th Division at the night. All along the front soon broke. The 118th Division, following Korean troops, advanced towards Kapyong on April 23, intent on capturing the important crossroads of Route 17 south of Kapyong. The 354th Regiment with the 1st Battalion, 352nd Regiment proceeded southward from the eastern valley of the Wakechan River. The 353rd Regiment advanced southward from the western valley of the Kapyongchan River. The rest of 352nd Regiment was in reserve. The command post of the 118th Division accompanied the 354th Regiment. Less than 3 kilometers across at its widest point, the Kapyong Valley was dominated by the surrounding hills. By the night of 23-24 April, a defensive position was quickly established with the 3rd Battalion, Royal Australian Regiment on Hill 504, the 2nd Battalion, Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry on Hill 677, and the 1st Middlesex Regiment, a British unit, situated south of the Canadians. 3 American tank platoons from Hay Company 72nd Tank Battalion moved to the front to support Australians. The 3rd Battalion, 354th Regiment, using the retreating ROK troops to cover their movements, arrived at Valley Entrance at 21 p.m. They forced the American tanks to withdraw around 22:30 p.m. Chinese then proceeded to assault the 3rd Battalion, Royal Australian Regiment. The 1st Battalion, 354th Regiment, following the 3rd, along the west bank of the Wakechan River, penetrated to Igongani by midnight. The fighting broke out soon in the area of headquarters of the 3rd Battalion, Royal Australian Regiment. The intensity of the fighting in the headquarters area increased by dawn. In the morning of next day, the 2nd Battalion, 354th Regiment attacked D Company. From the afternoon, the 3rd Battalion, Royal Australian Regiment withdraw south. The withdrawal took 7 hours. At the night, the Chinese 353rd Regiment attacked the 2nd Battalion, Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry on Hill 677. Although the Chinese attack succeeded in infiltrating the D Company perimeter through the gaps between platoons, Canadians hold their position until the daytime, supported by guns from the 16th Field Regiment of the Royal Regiment of New Zealand Artillery. The Canadian battalion were finally relieved on Hill 677 by a battalion of the 5th Cavalry Regiment on the evening of April 26. By April 29, the Chinese spring offensive was halted by UN forces. The total 118th Division casualties in the Battle of Kapyong were thousands. The command post of the division followed the command post of the 354th Regiment throughout. The 118th Division fought a grueling battle. The 3rd Battalion of the 354th Regiment was left with only 70 to 80 men, and Regimental Chief of Staff Liu Zhu sacrificed his life. The 353rd Regiment and the 352nd Regiment also suffered heavy casualties. My impression of the battle is profound. For this engagement, the preparations were quite thorough. At that time, our troops had all been equipped with American gear. The regiment had a chemical mortar company and 3 battalions, each battalion consisting of 5 companies. When the battle commenced, the 1st and 3rd battalions were at the front, with the 2nd Battalion positioned in the rear. The fighting was brutal and intense, with the 3rd Battalion suffering heavy casualties. During the battle, the enemy posed a significant threat to us, making it difficult to evacuate the wounded. Without civilian labor to assist, the wounded from the 3rd Battalion and Moktomini were carried down by the 2nd Battalion. In the harrowing clash of the Battle of Kapyong, Lee Tse-bin, the political leader of the Heavy Weapon Company, 3rd Battalion, 354th Regiment, 118th Division, was taken captive. Interrogated by operatives from the 209th CIC Detachment, Lee revealed critical details about his unit's composition. The 118th Division had bolstered its ranks with 1,200 replacements before the confrontation. The 354th Regiment and its 3rd Battalion stood at strengths of 2,100 and 580 men, respectively. However, the grim reality set in with the testimonies. The 3rd Battalion had been reduced to a mere 70 to 80 soldiers. Coupled with Australian records indicating 39 soldiers from the 3rd Battalion were captured, the devastating toll became evident. Over 70% of this elite battalion had been killed in action. After the battle, the regiment assigned me to lead a company to bury our fallen comrades. I remember it took us 2 days to complete the task. That concludes the detailed Chinese accounts of the Battle of Kapyong. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment to support our efforts in producing more high-quality content.